The app on your phone right now might be designed to trap you in debt. Not by accident, by algorithm. Federal regulators collected data on these apps. What they found? The average user takes 27 advances per year. That's more than one per paycheck. These apps advertise no fees. The actual cost? Some hit 750% APR. That's not a loan. That's a trap. And millions of Americans are already inside it. If you've ever felt like a financial app was helping you, while your situation kept getting worse, subscribe. You're not crazy. There's a system designed to create exactly that feeling. This is Algorithmic Exploitation Files, Episode 1. I want you to imagine something. You just turned 18. You've used this app your whole life, splitting bills with friends, getting paid for gigs, sending cash, normal stuff. Then one morning, something changes. A notification pops up. Bright colors, friendly text. Borrow now. Instant cash. Pay later. You didn't ask for this, but suddenly the app is offering you money. Here's what you don't know. Behind that friendly notification, an algorithm just analyzed over 200 data points about your life. Your location, your phone model, because iPhones signal wealth, and budget Androids signal struggle. How many friends you have, what apps you use, how you scroll, what you post. And from all that data, it calculated something very specific. Not how much you can afford, how much will hurt. The algorithm found the sweet spot. Enough money that you'll struggle to pay it back. Enough that you'll miss a payment or two. Enough to generate fees, hundreds, maybe thousands over time. But not so much that you stop paying entirely. That's the game. Keep you paying, keep you struggling, forever. You pay back the first loan. Feels good. Your limit goes up. You get more offers. You feel capable, empowered even. Then 1 month you can't pay. Interest balloons. That side gig you were doing for extra cash, now it's the job you need, just to cover last month. The app didn't need a villain in a boardroom to engineer this. The algorithm simply found a pattern that made money. It nudged your behavior, one notification at a time, until you were trapped. And when regulators investigate, there's no smoking gun, no evil memo. The model wasn't explicitly programmed to break you. It just optimized. That's the problem. That's the trap. Systems can engineer debt spirals into millions of lives without any single human deciding to do it. Now, I'm not describing a specific company. That scenario was a composite, an illustration of how these algorithmic systems can work, based on documented mechanisms. But here's the thing. We don't have to speculate about what's possible. We know what real companies actually did, because they got caught. Let's start with Dave. Dave Incorporated marketed itself as the friendly alternative to predatory lending. No hidden fees. Advances up to $500. Just leave an optional tip if you want. The Department of Justice sued them in November 2024. Here's what they found. The interface didn't offer a clear way to avoid tipping. That's not my interpretation. That's a direct quote from the federal complaint. The design made it hard to say no. And those tips? Dave told users they would purchase meals for needy children. They kept the vast majority of the money for themselves. The up to $500 they advertised? Most users rarely got anywhere near that. Many got nothing at all after they'd already tipped. Then there's MoneyLion. MoneyLion charged a monthly membership fee, $20 to $30, to access their loans. Normal enough, right? Here's the trap. If you had an outstanding loan balance, they wouldn't let you cancel the membership. You were stuck paying monthly fees on top of loan payments, and you couldn't escape until the debt was gone. New York's Attorney General filed charges in April 2025. What they alleged? Annual percentage rates reaching 750%. Internal documents showed the company used, quote, abusive tactics to push borrowers to take out new loans, to cover gaps created by earlier ones. Read that again. New loans to cover old loans. That's not lending, that's engineering dependency. Baltimore's lawsuit added more. Most users only got $100 per transaction, even though they advertised $500. Want more? Take another loan, pay another fee. Earnin marketed their tips as completely optional. Washington, D.C.'s Attorney General found 73% of transactions included tips. Optional doesn't mean what they wanted you to think it means. Cash App, Chime, Varo, Current. Dozens of fintech apps followed the same playbook. Start as a simple payment app. Add lending. Add investing. Add more ways to extract money from users who came for convenience and stayed because they were trapped. Block, the company behind Cash App, has already paid regulatory penalties for consumer protection failures. They deploy machine learning across their products. They've expanded lending inside the app. I'm not saying Cash App is doing everything in that hypothetical scenario. I don't have evidence proving specific intent. But the pattern is the business model. And when regulators keep finding the same violations across the same type of apps, that's not coincidence. Between 2022 and 2024, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau documented explosive growth in this industry. 90% increase from 2021 to 2022. 7 million workers. Over $30 billion borrowed. And usage intensity, meaning people taking advance after advance, jumped from 41% to 50%. Half of all users, taking advances every single month. That's not emergency borrowing. That's dependency. Engineered at scale. Now I need to tell you about Alex Kearns. Alex was 20 years old, a college student. He used Robinhood, the investment app that made trading feel like a video game. Robinhood approved him for options trading, complex financial instruments that experienced professionals handle carefully. Alex had no experience. The app approved him anyway. In June 2020, Alex logged into the app and saw a number, negative $730,000. He thought he owed nearly $750,000. The app's interface showed him that number. The actual situation was different, but the interface was confusing, misleading, and Alex couldn't get answers. He took his own life before the confusion could be resolved. Here's what makes this devastating. Robinhood's platform celebrated trades with confetti animations. It sent push notifications about trending stocks. It gamified investing, made it feel fun, exciting, like a game. They designed the app to encourage trading. They approved inexperienced users for dangerous products. And when something went wrong, the interface failed to communicate clearly. Massachusetts fined Robinhood $7.5 million. FINRA hit them with $70 million, the largest fine in their history. $57 million in penalties, $12.6 million in restitution to harmed customers. The settlement required them to stop the confetti, stop the gamification, add risk disclosures. But Alex Kearns was already gone. Subscribe to see how Amazon uses similar algorithmic systems to manipulate prices, extracting billions from shoppers. That's episode 2, dropping next week. If you're watching this on a fintech app right now, keep watching. I'm about to show you exactly how they target you. Remember those 200 data points I mentioned? Let me show you exactly what that means, because this part is documented in their own patent filings. Patent US 201500194005A1, filed by a company called Zest Finance. It describes a system that scores your creditworthiness based on, quote, how long you spent on the actual application pages. Not your income, not your employment, how long you looked at the page. They call it the careful customer test. The idea is that people who read carefully are better credit risks. But here's the other interpretation. People who read longer are uncertain, desperate, more likely to accept worse terms. Another patent, US 8694401B2, says it directly. Your social media activity, your Facebook friends, your Instagram posts, the number of people you're connected to on LinkedIn. All of it feeds into whether you get approved and what interest rate you pay. Your GPS location? That correlates with race. Because of where people live. Device type signals wealth. Social network patterns reflect economic class. The algorithm isn't explicitly programmed to discriminate. It just uses data points that happen to create the same outcome. Job postings from a firm, a major buy now, pay later company, describe building machine learning models to, quote, achieve business objectives. Not accurately assess creditworthiness, not make fair decisions. Achieve business objectives. Their technical blog describes processing 200 variables per transaction in 0.03 seconds, 92% accuracy. In the time it takes you to blink, the algorithm has analyzed your entire digital footprint and made a lending decision, optimized for their profit. You never see the logic. You only see the offer. And that opacity? It's not a bug. It's the design. So what can you actually do? First, track your usage. If you're taking advances more than once per pay period, you're in the dependency cycle. Federal data says the average is 27 per year. That's the trap operating. Second, watch for dark patterns. If the decline button is smaller than the accept button, if you have to hunt for the option to skip the tip, you're being manipulated. Document it. Screenshot it. Third, check your state's usury laws. New York went after MoneyLion for exceeding state limits. Maryland has a 33% cap. You might have legal recourse. Fourth, consider alternatives. Credit unions offer small dollar loans under 10%. Nonprofit counselors negotiate with creditors for free. The predatory app isn't your only option. And if you're already trapped, you're not alone. If you're using one of these apps right now, you need to understand that they aren't designed with your best interest in mind. You're facing machine learning systems that process 200 data points about your life in a fraction of a second. You're facing interfaces designed by behavioral psychologists. To overcome your resistance, you're facing companies that rejected internal proposals to fix deceptive practices because the fixes would hurt profits. You were outgunned from the start. This is structural, not personal. The problem is the system, not you. Here's what we know. 7 million workers used employer-linked advance apps. 3 million more used direct-to-consumer versions. Over $30 billion borrowed. Half of all users taking advances every single month. Federal regulators found systematic deception. States filed lawsuits. Companies paid millions in fines. And the apps are still on your phone. This was Algorithmic Exploitation Files, Episode 1. Episode 2 covers Amazon's secret pricing algorithms, how they coordinate price increases across millions of products, extracting billions from shoppers. Episode 3 exposes gig economy wage suppression, how apps keep drivers below minimum wage by design. Subscribe so you don't miss the next investigation. To keep producing this kind of research, the document analysis, the regulatory deep dives, the receipts, I need your support. This channel has no sponsors from the industries I'm exposing. No advertisers with conflicts of interest. Check the description for how to help this work continue. Have you ever felt manipulated by a financial app? Drop the name in the comments. Warn others. The algorithms are watching you. Now you're watching back.